am your mother," she snapped coldly. "I brought you into this world. You cannot tell me what to do." Kehinde's face became dark with anger. "I will have problem with you if you ever talk bad about my father again." The woman who had abandoned them as babies was now standing in their own restaurant, trying to destroy everything they had built. But this confrontation would change everything. How did a woman who once said, "I don't care if they live or die," about her own children end up working for those same children without knowing who they were? Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The twin babies cried as their mother Folake threw her wrapper into a traveling bag. Her face was hard like stone, ready to break everything around her. Adebayo, her husband, said softly, "The children are crying. They need their mother." But Folake answered with anger in her voice, "I don't care about them anymore. I'm leaving you." She kept putting her clothes in the bag without looking at him. "Please don't go," Adebayo begged. "If not for me, stay for Kehinde and Taiwo. God gave us these children." Folak turned and shouted, "I didn't marry you to be poor. Since you lost your job at the bank, we have been suffering. I'm tired of this small room in Mushin. I'm tired of eating beans every day. Don't look for me when I'm gone. As for these babies, do whatever you want with them." She zipped her bag and walked out of the house. The door slammed so hard that the neighbors heard it. Everything was good between Adebayo and Folake before he lost his job at First Bank. But since then, Folake complained every day about their small room, about gari and beans, about everything. Adebayo carried baby Kehinde and Taiwo in his arms. They were only 4 months old. Though they kept crying, he rocked them gently until they stopped. Looking at their small faces, his heart was heavy, but his voice was strong. "I may not have money now," he whispered, "but I promise to be the best father in Lagos to you." Soon the twin girls fell asleep. The next morning brought hunger and worry. Adebayo woke up with no food, no money, and 2 crying babies needing milk. There was no time to feel sorry. He had to move. He borrowed a wheelbarrow from his neighbor Babasule and tied the babies to his chest with wrapper cloth. Then he went to Alaba market to look for work. He started carrying heavy bags of rice and beans for traders. Many people stared. Some looked at him with pity. Some smiled and gave him small money for the babies. One old mama selling tomatoes looked at him with kind eyes and said, "My son, you are doing well." She gave him 1,000 naira and said, "This is for the babies." Adebayo bowed and thanked her. But not everyone was kind. One woman selling fish hissed loudly and shouted, "See this man! When you were enjoying yourself, you didn't think of tomorrow. Now you are suffering with small children." Her words pained him, but Adebayo said nothing. He only cared that Kehinde and Taiwo would be okay. After working all day, Adebayo went home, tired but happy. He had made enough money to buy baby food and milk. He went to a pharmacy in Ikeja and explained his problem to the pharmacist. The kind man helped him buy everything the babies needed. Day after day, Adebayo continued working with the twins tied to his chest. His mother had died long ago and he had no sisters to help. It was hard work, but he never complained. He was happy knowing he could take care of his daughters. One Monday morning, as he was going out with his wheelbarrow, Mama Kemi, his neighbor, called him. "Adebayo, let me take care of the babies today. The sun is too hot for them. Don't worry, I will watch them well." After thinking, Adebayo gave the babies to her and went to work. Though he was happy not to carry them in the hot sun, his heart was restless. Those girls were his whole world. Since their mother left, they had become everything to him. Mama Kemi was poor, but she had a good heart. She fed the babies, bathed them, and played with them. When Adebayo came back, he found Kehinde and Taiwo laughing in Mama Kemi's arms. From that day, Mama Kemi helped him whenever he went to work. The twins grew up knowing their loving father and Mama Kemi, who they called Mama. Kehinde and Taiwo went to public school in Mushin, but their father worked hard to pay their fees and buy their books. He taught them to be kind and respectful. At 18 years old, the twins finished secondary school at Community Grammar School, Mushin. Adebayo was very proud. The girls studied hard for their WAEC and JAMB exams. Kehinde scored 280 in JAMB, while Taiwo scored 295. Both got admission to study medicine at University of Lagos. One afternoon, Kehinde and Taiwo came home jumping with joy. They ran to their father with their JAMB result papers. Adebayo smiled big and said, "My daughters, you have done very well. Now I can walk in Mushin with my head up high. My daughters will become doctors." They all laughed together. But later Adebayo went to his room and sat on his bed. His smile disappeared. He had no money to send even one of them to university. He was completely broke. He whispered to himself, "All these years of pushing wheelbarrow. Now my daughters have succeeded, but I cannot pay their school fees." He felt like drowning, but then he made his hands into fists and said, "No, I will not let money stop them. I will do anything. My daughters must become doctors." The next morning, Adebayo woke up very early. This time he didn't take his wheelbarrow. He walked to the house of Alhaji Musa, a rich man in Victoria Island. He knelt down and begged, "Please, sir, take me as your houseboy. I will wash your clothes, cook your food, clean your house. Just help me send my daughters to university. I will work for you until they graduate." But Alhaji Musa shook his head and said, "Training 2 students in medicine is too expensive. I cannot do it." Adebayo stood up and left quietly. He went to 5 more rich houses in Ikoyi and Victoria Island. Each time he knelt and begged, but they all said no. Tired and broken, Adebayo went home. For 2 days he was very quiet. He didn't know how to tell his daughters their dreams might not come true. But one evening he called them and said softly, "My daughters, I'm sorry I have failed you. Please forgive me. I promised to send you to school, but I don't have money for university fees." His voice cracked and he turned away to hide his tears. Taiwo stood up and said gently, "Daddy, we are not angry. We know how much you love us." Kehinde added, "Whether we go to university or not, we will always love you." They hugged their father tightly. That night, when the girls were asleep, Adebayo knelt beside his bed and cried to God, "God, please help me. I have nothing, but you have everything. My girls deserve this chance. Please help me send them to school." He wept bitterly, hitting his hands on the floor. Kehinde and Taiwo heard everything. It broke their hearts. All their lives, their father had been strong. He never cried or complained, but tonight he was weeping because of them. They buried their faces in their pillows and cried quietly. The next few days were sad in the house. Kehinde and Taiwo went to University of Lagos and deferred their admission. It was painful, but they had a plan. They wanted to work, save money, and help their father. They went out together to look for work. After many rejections, they found jobs at Mama Cass restaurant in Ikeja. Kehinde and Taiwo started working immediately. They served customers with smiles and showed respect to everyone. Customers liked them and gave them good tips. Some men tried to take advantage of their situation, but the twins refused to sell their dignity. They saved almost every kobo they earned. At night, they would count their money and pray with their father. After about 8 months of hard work, Kehinde and Taiwo opened their own small restaurant in Surulere. It wasn't big, but it was clean and beautiful. They cooked delicious jollof rice, pounded yam, and a goosey soup. They treated every customer like family. They used Instagram and Facebook to advertise their food. Soon customers started coming plenty. The small restaurant became popular in Surulere. Kehinde and Taiwo were finally rising. They continued saving every naira they made. The dream of becoming doctors still burned in their hearts. One evening after a long day, Kehinde was cleaning tables when she saw a black briefcase under one chair. "Look, Taiwo," she said, holding it up. "Someone forgot this here." They opened it carefully and their eyes opened wide. Inside were many important papers and plenty of foreign money, dollars. They didn't waste time. They closed the briefcase and took it home. When Adebayo saw it, he nodded. "You did the right thing." "Don't worry, the owner will come looking for it. This bag is too valuable to lose." The next morning, the girls went to the restaurant early with the briefcase. They saw a rich-looking man standing beside a big black car looking worried. When they greeted him, he asked, "Did you see a black briefcase?" "Yes," Kehinde replied and gave it to him carefully. The man looked relieved and said, "Thank you very much." He collected the briefcase, entered his car, and drove away without giving them anything. Taiwo joked, "He should have given us small dollars, nah." Kehinde laughed, "So you want dollars? I will call you Dollar Girl." They both laughed and entered the restaurant to start work. Around afternoon, the same man came back. This time he was not rushing. He smiled at Kehinde and Taiwo and said, "I'm Chief Adeyemi. For your honesty, I want to reward you." The twins looked at each other hopefully, but Chief Adeyemi didn't give them money. Instead, he took them to a big, beautiful building in Ikeja. "This is for you," he said. "The documents in that briefcase were more valuable than the money. You saved my family business. Now I want you to have this building for your restaurant. It's all yours." Kehinde and Taiwo couldn't believe it. They had worked so hard and now it seemed like a dream. Grateful tears filled their eyes as they thanked him again and again. They quickly took Danfo bus to find their father. They saw him at the market, drinking kunu beside his wheelbarrow. Without saying anything, they ran and hugged him. People in the market stared in surprise. Adebayo laughed and said, "Sit down, let me buy you kunu." They sat with him, too excited to drink. Finally, Taiwo said, "We have surprise for you, Daddy." "What is it?" Adebayo asked, smiling. They stood up and told him to follow them. When they reached the big building, Kehinde shouted with joy, "It's ours, Daddy. The man who lost the briefcase gave it to us. He said we should open our restaurant here." Tears of happiness filled Adebayo's eyes. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. They all celebrated together, laughing and dancing in front of their new building. That evening at home, Kehinde and Taiwo sat with their father. They could see he was getting old and tired from pushing a wheelbarrow. Taiwo spoke softly, "Daddy, it's time for you to stop this hard work. You're not young anymore. We can take care of you now." Kehinde nodded. "We've got this now. You gave us everything we needed to succeed. Now it's time for you to rest." Adebayo wanted to argue, but he saw the love in their eyes. With a heavy heart but feeling very proud, he agreed to stop pushing wheelbarrow. Chief Adeyemi didn't just give them the building. He furnished it with new chairs, tables, plates, and pots. He provided everything they needed to make the restaurant successful. Kehinde and Taiwo put their hearts into making the place perfect. Their new restaurant was always full of customers. The atmosphere was classy and welcoming. The food was delicious, and their service was excellent. Soon, customers were coming from all over Lagos to eat their food. The restaurant was no longer just a business. It was a symbol of hope and dreams coming true through hard work. Most importantly, the girls took care of their father like a king. He no longer had to work in the sun. They gave him everything he needed and more. His tired hands no longer carried heavy loads. Instead, he spent his days enjoying the fruits of their labor. Kehinde and Taiwo didn't forget Mama Kemi, who helped them when they were babies. She was old now and always sick, but she had been like a mother to them. They renovated her house, making it fine and comfortable. Every month they sent her money and paid her hospital bills. One afternoon, a woman walked into the restaurant looking tired and hungry. One of the waitresses asked, "What do you want?" The woman looked up with hope in her eyes and said, "I'm looking for work." The waitress brought her to Kehinde and Taiwo. The woman begged, "I can do anything. Wash plates, sweep floor, serve food. Please, I just need work." Though they had enough workers, Kehinde and Taiwo felt something in their hearts for this woman. They decided to give her a chance washing dishes. This woman was Folek, their mother. After 3 failed marriages to rich men, she had nothing left. She was back to square one with nowhere to go. The next day, Adebayo came to visit his daughters. After talking with them, he walked into the kitchen and saw Folake. She didn't notice him, so he quietly stepped back. His heart was heavy with old memories. He found his daughters and sat them down. "Do you have a new dishwasher?" he asked seriously. "Yes, Daddy," Kehinde replied. "Do you know her?" "No," they both answered. "But why are you asking?" He cleared his throat and said slowly, "That woman is Foleke, your mother." Taiwo's eyes opened wide in shock. "What? Our mother?" "Yes, she is your mother. After she left, I destroyed every picture of her. The pain was too much, so you've never seen her face." The 3 of them walked into the kitchen. When Folake saw Adebayo standing there, her face became white and she couldn't speak. Adebayo took a deep breath and said to Folake, "The women who employed you, they are your daughters." Folake's face drained of color as she whispered, I am so sorry. I am so sorry, my daughters." The words came out in soft cries as she bowed her head in shame. Kehinde's face became hard with anger. "You have to leave," she said firmly. She picked up money from the counter and gave it to Foleke. "This is more than you have worked for. Go somewhere. I don't know you and you are not my mother. My mother is Mama Kemi, not you." Her voice broke, but the anger was still there. Taiwo, who had been quiet, wrapped her arms around her sister. "I know you're hurting, Kehinde, and so am I," she said softly, "but please don't send her away. She needs our help." Kehinde's face twisted with pain as tears started flowing. "I don't want to help," she whispered. Then pointing at Folake, she cried, "This woman left us. She went her way while we suffered with Daddy. She left us to die." The pain in her voice was deep as she sobbed. Folake, trembling, reached out to them. "I am sorry, my daughters. Please forgive me. I was young and foolish. Please forgive me." That evening, Adebayo sat with his daughters. The conversation was hard, but in the end, their hearts softened. They forgave Foleke, though it was not easy. The next day, Kehinde and Taiwo decided to make Foleke the supervisor of the restaurant. They couldn't bear to see her washing dishes. At first, Foleke seemed kind and gentle. The workers had no problems with her and customers liked her. But over time, something changed. Foleke's temper became bad. Her soft voice became sharp and commanding. She began to shout at workers for small mistakes. The atmosphere in the restaurant became tense. Workers started avoiding her and customers noticed the change. Slowly, like water leaking from a pot, the restaurant's customers began to reduce. The warmth and joy that once filled the place were now replaced with fear. Kehinde and Taiwo noticed the change but didn't know how to fix it. They sat their mother down one evening to talk about her behavior. But when they spoke, Folak was stubborn. "I am your mother," she snapped coldly. "I brought you into this world. You cannot tell me what to do." Kehinde tried to stay calm. "You are here to help us, but your attitude is destroying everything we worked for." Foleke's eyes became small as she continued. "Where is your father? The one you always give money to? He's lazy, just sitting at home while you give him everything. But me, you only give me salary." Kehinde's face became dark with anger. I will have problem with you if you ever talk bad about my father again." But Foleke wasn't finished. "You don't love me," she said bitterly. "You're just managing me here." After the heated argument, Kehinde and Taiwo went to their father, tired and frustrated. Adebayo listened quietly before speaking. "She is still your mother, but if you allow her to continue in the restaurant, she will destroy everything you worked hard to build." After much discussion, Kehinde and Taiwo made a decision. The next day they told Folake she would no longer work in the restaurant. Her reaction was swift and full of anger. "I know it's your stupid father who poisoned your minds against me," she yelled. Despite the pain of their mother's behavior, the twins didn't leave her without support. They opened a small shop for her in front of her house, allowing her to manage it herself. Meanwhile, the restaurant flourished. With Folake gone, the atmosphere improved and business boomed. Word spread about the warm service and delicious food. Soon the restaurant was thriving like never before. Kehinde and Taiwo expanded, opening new branches in Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Kano. Now that money was no longer a problem, they talked about their dream of becoming doctors. Taiwo spoke first. "The fire is no longer inside me. I love my business." She looked around the restaurant, watching the busy customers and staff, and felt deep pride. Kehinde nodded in agreement and smiled. "This business is God's answer to our father's prayers. I too don't want to be a doctor anymore. I love this business." Together they shared a quiet moment, their hearts at peace with the path they had chosen. As time passed, suitors began to appear for Kehinde and Taiwo. They were both ready to start new chapters of their lives. The excitement of planning their weddings filled the air, and the twins decided to set the date for the same day. But they were worried about leaving their father alone. One afternoon they sat with him, a little nervous but determined. Kehinde began gently, "Father, we know you are happy that we found husbands, but we are troubled that you are still alone. Not all women are like our mother. We believe there are good women out there." Taiwo continued, "Daddy, we have found you a nice woman. She works in one of our restaurants. She's been very kind to us. Her husband died and she has 2 children. If you marry her, her children will be like our younger siblings, and we'll make sure they get good education." Adebayo was surprised for a moment. After thinking for 2 days, he agreed. He met Mama Bisi, the woman they spoke about, and saw that she was genuine and kind-hearted. He agreed to marry her. The wedding was set for the same day as Kehinde and Taiwo's weddings. On that beautiful day, the church in Surulere was filled with love and joy as Adebayo, Kehinde, and Taiwo all got married. Mama Kemi, who had been like a mother to them all, stood proudly as the chief mother of the day. It was a day of new beginnings, not just for the girls, but for their father too. From pushing wheelbarrow in Alaba market to seeing his daughters become successful,